You're watching KBOI 2 News at 5:30. Watching out for you.
But first, a Treasure Valley soldier talks about his time serving in Iraq while writing a book. From bombs in Baghdad to books in Boise, a local man is making a name for himself as a novelist. And although his surroundings may have changed, his subject matter is similar. Here is tonight's Straight Talk with Mike Murad.
James Mace joining us for Straight Talk tonight. James, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure.
Now, I want to talk about the fact that you're a novelist. You're also in the Idaho National Guard, still as a reservist. Your first deployment was to 2004 in Iraq. Where did you come up with the material for these books?
Ancient Rome has been a lifetime passion for me. My parents got me into the history at a very young age. In fact, my dad introduced me to the series I, Claudius. Well, I was about 12 years old at the time, and I was enthralled. And so I just started absorbing anything I could. And then I always wanted to do a story about an actual Roman soldier, a grunt, a lowly legionary. Every book at that time was about the emperors, the generals. The soldiers were just fodder in the background. They really didn't matter. And this story started just brewing in my head about the campaigns of retribution after a disaster in Germania in 15 AD. Or correction, the disaster was in 9 AD. The campaigns were in 15 and 16 AD. And when I was in Iraq, it was a cathartic means of escapism. The closest comparison I can come up with is Tolkien. He started creating Middle-earth in 1916 in the trenches of World War I. He had a pencil and a notepad. I had a laptop that I borrowed from a friend of mine. And according to my parents, I've always been telling stories. My mom said I've been telling stories since I was 6 years old.
Well, and the thing about that is, too, everyone thinks that they have an idea for a story. Making it happen is quite a leap. How'd you make it happen?
I would say everyone does have a story. I think fear is what catches most people. So many people I know will start writing a book, they'll get a couple chapters in, and I've read some people's material and I've said, this is good. And then they freeze up and they never finish it. I had time on my hands. I was leading a squad over in Iraq, and when we weren't on missions, we ate, we slept, we hit the gym, and I borrowed a friend's laptop and wrote a book. And I think what helped with that is I wrote a few chapters, and some of the guys wanted to read it, and I was really nervous. I'm like, is this campy? Is it cheesy? Whatever. People read it, and they're like, hey, we want some more of this. Hey, when's Sergeant Mace going to give us more chapters to read? So it kind of became an escapism for everyone. And before the tour was done, I had a completed book. It was very raw, unedited, but it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it was a completed story. And I'd even gone as far as to think, well, if I wrote a sequel. So I had a couple of chapters for what would become the second book of the series.
And this is the latest book. It is Soldiers of Rome. It is the last campaign. But you are still in the Idaho National Guard as a reserve. Is this giving you more material for future books?
I wouldn't say so, no. I'm just a part-timer now. I'm a Master Sergeant, EH. I'm in a training regiment. I'm actually getting ready to retire in July. I just hit my 20 years. And it's closing out that chapter. I've already opened this one. I left my full-time job there in December 2011 to become a full-time writer, and I haven't looked back. And it took a while to get to that point. I had 4 books out before I started making any money at it.
Well, James Mace, thanks for joining us, and best of luck in the future.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
And that is Straight Talk for tonight. Let's send it back to you.